In this video I want to talk a little bit about text content in Aletheia. The text content is the transcribed text. So whatever you see on the image you can transcribe as Unicode text. This is done in the text dialog. This is all resizable as you see fit. You can change the font size. So one thing important to know is that in Aletheia you can have text for regions, like in this case, but you can also have text in text line objects, in word objects, and in glyphs. And these are not automatically synchronized, so if you need the text in all different levels, you can of course do that, but just showing you one example, if you change something here, then this won't appear in the text line. We will see later what you can do about that. The text dialog is quite straightforward. You can just enter the text as you like. There's a virtual keyboard at the bottom, also resizable. You can customize the keyboard as well with these functions here, so there's some predefined ones, and then you can change it as you like. So these characters in the default keyboard are either from the Unicode standard or from the medieval font initiative, and some of them are also from a private Unicode section. You can check the Aletheia help files. There's a list of all the characters we used. If you work on non-Latin scripts and you encounter problems with the font, so we use a special font called Aletheia Sans. So if you encounter any problems, you can change the font here. So if you want Chinese characters, that should work fine. So let me take you also to the other functions in the text dialog. If you transcribe the text, you have the option, of course you can always just type it here in the text dialog, but sometimes it's a bit, especially for larger text regions, can be a bit cumbersome to always look here, look there, look here, look there. So what you can do there, use the transcribe function. You can change the font size. So this way you can transcribe directly next to the text line. So this works best if you have text line objects, because then the dialog box knows where to position itself. If you don't have that, you can also position the dialog with the cursor keys. It works as well. A few options here for right-aligned text, how you move to the next line, the width of the text box. Then you have the option to search for text in the document, also replace, and you can also, if you have multiple documents open, search across multiple documents. Then there's something called a text overlay. Here you can see, okay, let me close the text dialog first. Here you can quickly see what is the content of each text region. And similarly text lines. If you select, it will show for the selected. If you don't select, you have to hover with the cursor over a region. For glyphs and words, it shows all the glyphs of a text line. And if you have the text dialog open, for regions this will change to a single line indicated by these blue arrows, and this depends on where you are in the text dialog. So you can quickly go through with the cursor keys and compare the text. So you can change the size here to auto if you want Aletheia to estimate the font size to make it easier to compare. So then you have seen the font size change. You can show special characters for line breaks and for spaces if you need to. A text region also has some attributes like confidence. Say if you have an OCR result, this could be filled with a value from 0 to 1. It can have a data type. If you expect something else than just text, Then you have options to propagate text and compose text from text lines to regions to words to glyphs and the other way around. So in this case is what I mentioned before. So if you have different text in your child objects, you can compose the text from there and automatically move it to here. If you have a parent region, you can extract the text for this text line, for instance, from the parent region and fill text content. And finally, you also have the option to have multiple versions of the text content for a region, and this will then show up as variants. So you see variant 1 is the text we had before, variant 2 is empty, so you have, depends on your use case, you can fill it with anything you like, annotated text, different language. What else can you do? You also have something export text. You have that in the toolbar and also in the export menu. What this does is it takes all the regions or text lines or words or glyphs and creates a composed version of text in the order as you define it, either in the reading order if it's defined or just top to bottom. You can select the regions which are used, edit the text right here if you want to, and then just save it to file, save it to the Windows clipboard. The same thing happens when you select a region and press Ctrl and C. This will copy the text also to the Windows clipboard. So you also have a text propagation option. So what I showed earlier in the text dialog, where you can compose or extract text from parent and child regions, you can do this for the whole document. In the propagation dialog, you can see what you have selected, where there's text available. So for this one selected regions, it found 4 text lines, 17 words and 127 glyphs. There's an indication that you already have text in all levels, and you can propagate from one level to the next, or from one level all the way down or up to all the other levels. So this is really if you have the text in one level but really need it in some other level. It can be very useful, say for transcribing text. It's usually easier to transcribe it as one big chunk in a text region, but if you then need the text in the glyph objects, you can just propagate it, then have a character in each glyph region. So that is really the main use case here. Okay, this is all there is to say about text content.